Welcome back, Devils fans. It is your host, Ace, here on Running with the Devils, and the rumors will just not go away. Guys, I tried my hardest. I haven't talked about this in a few days. I haven't mentioned his name. However, I hate to do this to you and keep playing with your emotions, but as my emotions get toyed with, unfortunately, you're going to be part of the ride along with me. And the latest Brady Tkachuk rumors have come to the forefront, courtesy of Jeremy Rutherford, a Blues insider, speaking on an ESPN show earlier today. He had a lot to say, and I have to just share it with you. I'm not going to summarize it. I'm just going to play the full few-minute clip right here, and let's listen to what Jeremy Rutherford had to say in regards to Brady Tkachuk.
JR, I'm hearing rumblings that the Blues and the Ottawa Senators might actually discuss Brady Tkachuk. Have you heard anything to that point? And would it surprise you? Because it would surprise me if Brady Tkachuk were put on the market and made available by the Ottawa Senators.
Well, I'll tell you this. When I was sitting with Tom there at Starbucks, and I asked him about this offseason, and he said, I think it's going to be exciting, going to be interesting. And then he said, well, let's just say that it already is. He knows something that they're working on behind the scenes, and wanted to probe down that road a little further. But obviously, Tom isn't going to give up Doug's plans on what they're doing. But to talk about Brady Tkachuk, yeah, I think going back to that report last year, I think it was Whitney was spitting chicklets. He said that hearing that Tkachuk could be available, I think there's perhaps something to it. And I think, obviously the Blues would have some interest. He's in that age bracket that they continue to talk about, and he's a dynamic player. Is he a 100-point guy? Maybe not, but he does everything else. And I think most of all, what he would do for this team is bring that passion. I think that we've seen that they've been lacking on a lot of nights. And so I don't have any concrete information in terms of talks with Ottawa, but I think that he likely is available, and I think that the Blues would definitely check into that situation.
So what would you think that the Senators would be wanting in return?
Well, I think, they've had a couple of years now, Brooke, where they thought they were there. They thought they were, a playoff team, and they haven't gotten there. And now they have the new ownership and the new general manager and Steve Stais. And, if it's not working out with Brady Tkachuk in terms of, him wanting to be there and or, them being pleased with the job that he's doing, then perhaps if they decide to move him, they're still going to want to be a team that's trying to contend now. So that I don't think would be a situation where they're trading Brady Tkachuk for picks and prospects and trying to look towards the future. So I think that would be a situation, Brooke, where they're looking for players who can come in and help immediately. Is that Pavel Buchnevich, who we just talked about? Is it Jordan Kyrou? I think they're going to want some offense, and they're going to want some players who can try to make them a playoff team now. And by the way, I think with a guy like Brady Tkachuk, I've talked to some people in and around that situation in a little bit, and he said that after the season, he felt like they were on the same page as far as next year goes. Beyond next year, we don't know. Could that timetable come quicker if they find the right deal to make a trade? I don't know, but he felt at the end of the season that those two sides, both the Ottawa Senators and Brady Tkachuk, were on the same page in terms of next year.
Very, very interesting stuff from a separate source within the St. Louis Blues. Now, folks, again, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but the reality is I've wanted this for so damn long that when more chatter comes about, I am certainly going to do my best to put it out there in the forefront so that everyone is aware of it. Because a lot of people say it's the notion is just so ludicrous and Devils fans are delusional, but the reality is the Ottawa Senators are where they are and the New Jersey Devils are where they are. And so for a few months now, it feels like at least, I've been openly campaigning that Brady Tkachuk is the exact type of player the New Jersey Devils desperately need in their lineup, someone that brings that tenacity, that heart, that grit, could do everything, drop the gloves, score, check, make plays. He does it all, wears his heart on his sleeve, total warrior, foxhole type guy, and the Devils would benefit tremendously from having him on their team. So I've been openly saying how much I wanted this guy for months now, and when you just keep hearing all these little tidbits of things, there's a lot of smoke surrounding Brady Tkachuk. And where there's smoke, there is fire. I'm not saying the Devils are going to get him or that he will be traded, but there's certainly something to this, that it just keeps coming up in different outlets all over the country, and I can't believe that it's all just a complete fabrication. It just doesn't make sense. There's just way too many different people talking about this, and so there's got to be something to it. Now, I made a video a week or two ago. I think it was titled Brady Tkachuk to the Devils Must Happen. I go in deep about all this. You could check it out on the channel. I'll put a link in the description, so if you haven't seen that video yet, definitely check it out. I go in depth, but a quick Cliff Notes version, if you will, recap. Essentially, Tom Fitzgerald, the current general manager of the New Jersey Devils, is Brady Tkachuk's cousin. That is step one. Pretty wild to have a GM in the league that is your cousin if you're playing any professional sport. So that's kind of wild in and of itself. He is very close family friends with the Hughes family, and in a video interview said he loves them like his own family. Thirdly, Brady Tkachuk's wife is from New Jersey. I mean, how many more things do we get? And then a little cherry on the sundae, his college teammate at Boston University, Shane Bowers, just recently re-signed with the New Jersey Devils. Whether he stays with the Devils or goes to Utica, that remains to be seen. However, Shane Bowers is in the organization. So in summary, we have cousin is the GM of the team. Your really good friends are on the team, both Jack and Luke Hughes. Your wife is from New Jersey, and your college teammates on the Devils. Oh, also, I'm assuming his in-laws live in New Jersey as well, and his wife is pregnant, expecting a newborn in a few months. And having that help around locally for newborn kids and their mothers, I've seen it firsthand, not for myself, but different family members and things. Kids are a lot to handle, and people want all the help they can get. How nice would it be for Brady Tkachuk's wife to have her parents nearby for help with that newborn baby? So it just makes all the sense in the world. He's exactly the type of player the Devils need on their team. He has all the ties to the team, and now we keep hearing all of these different rumors and conversations surrounding him in different markets throughout the country. Furthermore, on top of all of this, Brady Tkachuk does have a no-move clause that kicks in July 1st, 2025. So after next season, he has a no-move clause. Who knows the details of it? But essentially, at that point, the cards will all be in the hands of Brady Tkachuk. And so if the team wants to move on from him, if it's mutual, if he demands out, however it goes down, we've seen these scenarios before. They can get ugly with star players and franchises. And the reality is the power shifts dramatically to Brady Tkachuk's favor once his new no-move clause kicks in. And so now you have to think, are the Senators willing to gamble that Brady Tkachuk will be happy with the outcome of this upcoming season and be happy for the long term? Because he has 4 years left on his contract as of right now. His trade value will never be higher than it is at this very moment in time. With 4 years under contract at a team-friendly number, it's $8-point-something million for the next 4 years. His value is super high right now. Now, don't get me wrong. In a year from now, say they miss the playoffs next summer, his value will still be very high. But you have to take into consideration his value will drop a little bit because now he will only have 3 years remaining on his deal instead of the 4 that he has currently. And then that no-move clause is going to kick in, which could potentially handcuff the Senators and hurt the return for him as well. So that's a lot of things to consider if you're Staios in Ottawa. Obviously, no one wants to trade Brady Tkachuk. He's a unicorn-type player. Not a lot of guys like him exist in the league. The fans love him. He's the captain of their club. But when you sit back and really analyze the situation, if Travis Green and the Senators suck next season, it will probably be the end of the line for Brady Tkachuk. And at that point, he will probably want out. And now you've burned a year of his 4 years remaining on his deal with a potential no move hovering over you right after the draft. It could be a recipe for disaster. If they sink and he's pissed off and wants out, and now you wait till the summer, all of a sudden he now can dictate where he goes, where he doesn't go, and that could really hurt your return. So it would be wise for Staios to really consider getting a massive haul for him right now because the table is set that way. His value will never be higher than it is right now, and Staios will never be in a position to get as big of a return for Tkachuk as the Devils could offer right now. The Devils have first-round draft picks. Obviously, we have the number 10 overall this season. We have prospects. We have a few roster players we could move. And so the assets that the Devils have available to spend in a deal like this will never be higher than they are right now. And for that reason alone, with all the ties, I just can't see how Fitzgerald doesn't try to make it happen. And I will tell you this. If he doesn't get traded, fine. There's nothing you could do. But Fitzgerald should be doing his damnedest to get Staios on the phone and really try to make this thing happen. But I will say, if Brady Tkachuk is traded to any other team other than the Devils, if that happens, Tom Fitzgerald must hand in his resignation immediately. Immediately. It's one thing to not get Brady Tkachuk if he's truly not available and he's not dealt. But if he is on the block and does get moved elsewhere, there's no excuse. He had every advantage in the world in his favor. It's his cousin. He has his good friends in the Hughes on the team. His wife is from New Jersey. If he can't reel in Brady with all of that, and the fact that this Devils team should be built to contend for years to come as an attractive destination for a player looking for a new home, if he can't get it done with that and he gets shipped somewhere else, Fitzgerald needs to immediately resign because he is awful at his job. You couldn't have more advantages in your favor in this scenario. It makes all the sense in the world, and so I'm looped back in every few days. I don't dwell on it. I obviously want it to happen. It's in the back of my mind, but I've been kind of relinquished to the fact that it most likely will not happen, and if it was to happen, it probably would happen sometime next year. But now that this report just came up now too, there's too many teams that are going to now probably start inquiring on him, and I think it's going to open the can of worms. And if somehow Fitzgerald is not the highest bidder to reel in the big fish, or I guess this would also fall under big game hunting, although no one thought this would be a target of his big game hunt when he made that phrase. I mean, it's all there. It is there for the taking. You could twist Staios' arm. You could offer him a sick package that he's going to have a hard time walking away from, and you could bring Brady Tkachuk here, and you could revitalize this team on and off the ice and get the fan base super excited. It'd certainly help the season ticket, salespeople sell some packages because they're dealing with historic drop-offs right now. The New Jersey Devils having an awful season combined with increasing the prices 10 to 20% depending on where the seats are. Recipe for disaster. Season ticket drop-offs are at an all-time high. And a move like Tkachuk would certainly get the wheels spinning back the other way and get people on board. So I'm very curious to see how this plays out. Again, I'm not trying to be one of these rumor-type people, but it just makes too much sense that there's too many ties. And when something like this gets said, it's hard for me to ignore it. And so I cannot, and I am sharing it with you all. Don't forget, we have our hashtag, BringBradyToNJ. There it is. Let's really start getting that out there on Twitter and all the social media platforms. And this thing has some life. Just when I thought I was almost ready to bury it for now, it got a little resuscitation, a little shock back to life action. And we have a slight pulse on this thing once again. I mean, it's just too many sources, guys, talking about it. I can't believe that they're all full of shit. When else have you seen something like this with different outlets, reporting a similar type of story over a few months? It just doesn't really happen too often, and it's not. Again, don't take my word for it. I'm regurgitating what known sources and insiders are saying. So it's not like people. I'm telling you that people with YouTube channels like myself are just fabricating this out of the air. No, these are legit. We had Spit and Chicklets talk about it. Mike Rupp didn't say it as a rumor, but he just went on NHL Network and said the Devils should do it. Now we have Jeremy Rutherford. I mean, there's just tons of instances of this stuff. And I'm sorry, guys, like they said, where there's smoke, there's fire. There's something certainly surrounding this. There's got to be at least a little bit of truth to it. And Fitzgerald should make it happen and just kick the door down. Just come in there like Steven Seagal and just start kicking ass and taking names. Land Brady Tkachuk to the New Jersey Devils. It would be, wow. One of the biggest acquisitions in Devils history for sure, and it'd be, I have to really think about it. It would easily be in my top 3 of all time, and it could possibly contend for number 1. I'd really have to think about that. That's a hard one historically, but it would be up there on the list. But let me know what you guys think about this latest rumor. Anything else? Throw it out there. Devils hockey news, playoffs, the Rangers, another overtime win, sickening. But anything, throw it out there in the comments.